20. Now we fast forward, he's 56, and he just was getting some coffee, and someone's like, here, actually, yeah, no, that's the old boys are getting back together in this unmarked building. And he stumbles in there. It also, by the way, does provide an explanation for why they panicked when he just walked in there, because they were like, he should not have known that this building was here. They didn't buy his excuse. It's, 7 hours later, they allowed him to leave, or Captain Neff allowed him to leave. Now, we can also give you some more information that gets really interesting, okay? Remember, Harry, who told me that seeing that many, I hope it's 06. Is it 06? Do not email me, okay? He said it is not common unless, and he specifically said, there were some high-ranking congressional member or someone close to the president, like the vice president. Well, we received another tip that makes things especially compelling. So I'm going to just read you this email in its entirety. We have fact-checked it. It is true. Trust us to fact-check stuff, by the way, guys, we would not just randomly be like, thumbs up. We're just going to go with that. This person writes, I just wanted to bring to your attention that on September 8th, that's when he says that he saw some funny business, 2025, a U.S. government plane, a special air mission plane, caught my eye. This is what I found about that particular plane that is based out of Andrews Air Force Base, shown as Camp Springs below. U.S. Air Force C-37A Gulfstream is Gulfstream 5 is a VIP jet, part of a unit that caters to senior members of the executive branch and Congress. Plane number is 99-0404, as you'll see on the screenshot below. On September 7th, the plane flew from Andrews to Colorado Springs. On September 8th, it flew from Colorado Springs to Tucson, then 5 hours later from Tucson, and then the transponder appears to be turned off. However, at 12:31 p.m. on September 9th, it flies from Fort Huachuca to El Paso, and then El Paso back to St. Andrews. Now, why is that interesting? Okay, because that means the timeline that he gave us is exactly right. This meeting took place early in the morning. I think it was 7:37 where all this happened, and then he said he assumed it was like a high-ranking congressional person or somebody that potentially could be in the cabinet. This guy is saying that's what that plane is used for, and he also brings in El Paso. Remember, El Paso, Texas, is where all those weird flights were coming from on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination. So that is extremely compelling. And like I said, having spoken to this individual who is planning to come out and do podcasts and speak about that, he's trying to figure it out, which I'm going to help him with this weekend to figure out whose show he can go on and speak more. It's lining up. Like this is actually tracking. I had a sense when I spoke to him that his memory could be trusted. Okay. He was very forthright. He was very honest. I mean, he was so honest that he was like, when I said, oh, is it maybe this, Captain Neff? He was like, ma'am, like, I don't want to give you any information that's wrong. I would put that at about maybe 60 to 65% that it could be this person, until I gave him the correct Neff. And he was like, 100%, that's the guy that questioned me. So I trust him. And by the way, his heart exploded when I told him about all the emails of people that were in the military currently that were very moved by his story, people who have had the experience of doing the right thing in the military and being treated as though they did something wrong for doing their job and serving the American people. Everybody knows there's corruption everywhere, especially at the top. And to all the service members that sent those emails, I want you to know that he said he was close to tears, and he was just on his knees, him and his wife, just thanking God, because they never thought their story was ever going to come out about what happened to him when he was 20. And that is just something that is really, that's why I said there's so much God in this, because like he either has the best or worst luck, but he just happens to be in the wrong place at the right time, maybe in the right place at the wrong time. Who knows? History will tell us. Continuing the rest of that email from the person who gave us that tip about this plane, he concludes it by saying, this is the only time that I have noticed that this plane was in Fort Huachuca. if your contact that you mentioned yesterday saw this group of men in the morning, it could line up well with what this aircraft leaving at 11:43 a.m. on the 9th. From other searches I've done, it appears that Pam Bondi flew on this plane approximately 5 months ago from Tampa area back to DC. I am looking into other flights. Please be safe and God bless. Guys, we have a clue. And we should keep going with that. I don't know. When he contacted me, it was the way I told you. It went about me praying and then suddenly I get this email and I speak to him and he's like so credible and just gives everything. I think we need to keep prodding this narrative of what happened and what he said that he saw. And he described it as a meeting that when the operation is being finalized, a finalization meeting, and he seems like he knows what he's speaking about. So that's what I have for you guys today. Oh, wait, there's also something else about that plane. I got to bring in Mark to mansplain it. I'll just bring you on, Mark. I'm not even going to tee you up there. Just come on.
Thank you. Great introduction. So I was looking at the logs for that flight, and the flights in question are towards the center of the screen. You can see it goes from Tucson. The transponder goes dark. That's what that dash means there. But what really stood out to me were the call signs, which are basically the fourth column from the left. So you can see it's using RCH, which is reach. That's a standard Air Force call sign designator. But when someone important is on the plane, it switches their call sign to SAM, which stands, as you said, for Special Air Mission, which is typically reserved for people like the vice president, cabinet secretaries, senior officials of the executive branch, congressional delegations, and other senior political leaders. So what that tells me is the call sign from Tucson to Fort Huachuca is a standard reach. Everything before that is as well. But once it gets to Fort Huachuca and takes off, it switches to SAM. So that tells me they picked up someone of that stature in Fort Huachuca. And then just to avoid confusion, the Venus call sign is just when the plane is empty, it doesn't have anyone on it.
It's actually very, very helpful. And I think, like I said, there's something here. There is definitely something here. And I do believe that God put that man again. He has the worst luck. Our guy, Harry, has the worst luck down, or the best luck down in Fort Huachuca. But I'm certainly glad he was there. So you'll definitely be hearing from him directly. I would assume next week I'm going to help him figure things out. He's like, I don't know how to work these podcasts and computers and how to get my message out there. We will definitely assist. We'll take a brief break and come back after some sponsors. All right, you guys, want to tell you about Pure Talk because as a consumer, you carry the success or the failure of businesses in the palm of your hand. Their success depends on your decision to spend money with them or their competitor. Well, my friends at Pure Talk would like to say thank you from the bottom of their hearts for choosing Pure Talk for your wireless needs. Because of you, they had a record-breaking year. Because of your generosity through their Roundup for Charity program, they've been able to donate over $500,000 to America's Warrior Partnership, who stands on the front lines preventing veteran suicide. Your patronage has allowed Pure Talk to donate 1,000 hand-sewn Made in America flags to your fellow veterans. And when you choose Pure Talk as your wireless provider, you choose to support American jobs. Like I said, as a consumer, you have the power to make or break companies. And with the money the big wireless guys throw around on advertising, you are inundated with offers everywhere you look. So from everyone in the Pure Talk family, thank you for your trust and God bless America. I also want to tell you guys about Purge Store because they tell you to fear the outside world, but the real danger can actually be happening inside your gut. I'm talking about parasites. These parasites can come in many different forms, microscopic parasites, there's fungus, worms. This isn't just a third world problem. You can contract parasites from your cats, dogs, from riding in an RV, or even from eating sushi. Right now, an estimated 4 billion people, more than half the planet, are unwilling hosts to parasites. 60 million Americans alone are suffering from parasites. Parasites suppress immunity. They cause some cancers, trigger autoimmune responses, and release toxins that fog your mind and drain your energy. So if you struggle with losing weight or you suffer from crippling fatigue, anxiety, brain fog, an uncontrollable sweet tooth, or chronic digestive issues, you more than likely could be suffering from a parasite. PurgeStore.com offers an organic yet potent all-natural formula that targets and kills parasites and aggressively flushes them from your system. Purge is not a synthetic drug. It is an herbal remedy that is safe yet powerful, and it can be taken daily to prevent future parasitic invasions. Right now, you can save 15% off at purgestore.com if you use promo code Candace at checkout. Purge Store will also gift you a free colon cleanse with a Purge subscription to help you dislodge and flush everything out of your system. That's promo code Candace at purgestore.com. Turning Point Faith, man, I love that it is so faithful. And, we're always talking about biblical characters, but nobody want to address Jesus. Remember, he was betrayed. The story might be relevant. We're going to be out here acting like it's a conspiracy. Yeah, it was a conspiracy when Judas betrayed him. And it was for money. Like, that might be a relevant narrative when you're out here, like, trying to make it seem like it's never happened in the history of the world. It has happened. And, yeah, I don't know. He was denied. He was denied, just as he said. So I want to just be clear that it is, of course, plausible. It is very plausible. Is more than plausible that when a company grows that size, there are people that become motivated by things that are not just truth and justice and things that feel sparkly and sprinkly and like make you feel good on the inside. Okay. The reality is life is ugly. Okay. Many people have to deal with deceit and dishonesty the bigger they get. And we heard that from Charlie's own mouth, what he was going through. Okay. I wouldn't have guessed his last words were effectively as if we're all getting the vibes here, like, just like go be a Jew. But I don't know. I feel like he was under pressure actually from a lot of his Jewish quote unquote friends. And there hasn't even been any honesty provided from Turning Point USA in that regard. It's like we're getting no honesty at all. And I'm wondering why, because this feels like a very poorly run PR show. Anyways, you guys, if you would like to support our independent work, you can head to CandaceOwens.com and buy some merch. I promise you we will get you Candace 19 merch because that's amazing, actually. That's what's happening. Okay, we're right back there. And we will tell you not to go max and to instead get the vax. And hopefully you will listen to us because we are the government and we can always be trusted. We are the government. We can always be trusted here at CandaceOwens.com. You guys can also purchase my book, which we're going to get into a little bit more about tomorrow. The backstory of feminism is so much darker than most people understand. MakeHimASandwich.com if you'd like to buy it from us directly. You can also head to Amazon now, throw it in your cart. And we are now also shipping to Canada. MakeHimASandwich.com. Okay, let's get to some of your comments before the influencers come out and tell you it's evil after that Fox News hit for us to say, actually, I still have questions. They do. The top comment from yesterday is they want us to believe that Charlie's neck was made of steel and the Twin Towers were made of neck bones. Got it. Yeah, we're at that stage of a psychological operation. That's it. None of it's making sense. That is so well put. It is upside down land. Laughing Cats Music World writes, and thank you, by the way, that's a massive donation. Vital to separate flaws from race. We can criticize corrupt Jews without blanket anti-Semitism. Critiquing George Floyd because he died of fentanyl in the hospital isn't hating black people. Stop equating criticism of Israel, Soros, etc., with Jew-hating or self-hating if you're Jewish and critical of all governments, including Israel. Most people are not racist. And then this person is making the joke, maybe Blake Neff. I didn't look into the Blake Neff thing or why he left Fox News because I'm just more interested in his military connections because that caught me by surprise. But you are absolutely on the money. Obviously, we can criticize people and this sort of cheap tactic of being like, oh, well, it's kind of the same thing we're talking about. It's emotional manipulation. It's like, whoa, what are you saying? And it's like, no, there is corruption everywhere. And you are not removed from corruption because of who you work for, what you look like, what sex you are. It is always plausible and actually highly plausible, typically when money is involved. Lulu Mallory writes, the more I watch, the more fake and gay things are. We all have been given the light of Christ to discern truth from lies. Candace speaks truth. Go Max, Candace. Charlie deserves nothing less. You are correct. And I don't trust the feds. And I don't believe that is a sufficient enough answer that, well, we're telling the feds to do that. Well, I can tell you the feds are not doing that, because I was the one who said I had the information about the French Foreign Legion being on the ground the day that Charlie was assassinated, and the feds have not reached out to me. So shouldn't that concern Erica? Shouldn't she be like, hey, why didn't you reach out to me and say, like, you know, hey, I'd like that information if no one's reached out to you? Like, why is that not happening? This is what I mean when I say that the reaction doesn't feel to the public as what we, and yeah, I'm generalizing here because there is such a thing as a general response, what we would do in the same circumstance. Like, we would be like, whoa, even if I trusted the feds and I trusted my legal team and trusted their analysis that there was just one person involved, as soon as some podcaster was like, hey, I found Egyptian planes and they're being kind of shady, I would be like, whoa, that is weird. What's up with these Egyptian planes? They're just making jokes. That there's something not right with that. Like, making jokes about something that if you should be concerned at the very least about, even if it turned out that it led nowhere, which it has not turned out that it led nowhere. It actually led somewhere, and it's been confirmed. Why are you not concerned? I just need an answer for why they are never concerned. Meryl Gerstenmeyer writes, it seems to me Erica's moral outrage is manufactured more for an elite target audience as opposed to those normal folks who want to solve the actual murder. It does feel, I would say it feels elite. I don't have time for the little people, okay? I don't have time for, you know, your small pocket donors. I got time, but like, it's going to be spent with power. It's going to be spent in the West Wing. It's going to be spent raising $40 million at Mar-a-Lago. When we say building, what we mean is like a financial arsenal. And it's easier to appease people who are billionaires than to build a grassroots movement. That's what Turning Point USA was. It's not anymore, clearly, but it was a grassroots organization. That was the pitch. That was why I worked for them. The idea that you could get on the ground when nobody knew us, nobody knew me and Charlie, and we could get on stage and we could convince people of what we believed in, okay? Every conversation mattered in those times. Every debate mattered. Every feeling that a person had, even if it was valid or not valid, it mattered. And now we get the sense that this is the RNC. So if you ain't spending for a table, you ain't getting a response, okay? Because we busy. We very busy. H. Biz writes, who was the woman in the pickup truck? I don't know who the woman was in the pickup truck, but you're referring to what Harry, I mean, Harry thinks he has an idea and he should come out and he should share his story. I would be interested to see if he is, like I said, I can tell you he was factually there, that the meeting happened now exactly as he said it happened at exactly what time he says it happened. I cannot confirm his own eyes. I can't confirm his memory of who he believes he saw. We can't confirm it was Brian Harpole. We can't, you know, was it a Brian Harpole lookalike? Do a lot of military men look the same? He is certain he saw Brian Harpole. Give him time to come out and tell his story. Servant of Yahweh writes, who was the young woman in the Candlewood Suites Hotel with the special ops guy? They left in the green truck on September 8th. If you or anyone you know works at that hotel and has that security footage, please get it to Candace before it gets deleted. I would imagine if he is right, that footage is deleted. But that would still be a clue if it was deleted. So yeah, if you work for the Candlewood Suites Hotel at the military base, could you check that footage, please, for us on September 8th? More tips at CandaceOwens.com is who you can send that tip to. What you doing staying at the Candlewood Suites Hotel? I'm sorry, that's an old hip hop song. I'm out of control. I'm sorry, guys. This is a new strand of Candace 19, and it's resistant. It is absolutely resistant, even to the vax. So anyways, you guys, we're going to keep going, Max. And I am going to keep on this, see what comes of this. And we will see you guys tomorrow.